Hello everybody, I'm Richard Gon of Work to Live podcast version. So this time, what I'd like to talk about is I stumbled in the even in the beginning of our episode. I'm sorry for my stumbling manner of communication or my speech. So this time, what I'd like to talk about is, as title shows, is it really fine to immigrate into countryside? Which is the title of this episode, and about which I'd like to tell you some stories. And so first of all, so before recording this episode, I have talked about that the internet is going to bring agricultural societies back to human beings, about which I created an episode, and was I created that episode months before, or anyway episodes before I created that episode, and maybe this month I created that episode. Anyway, so I'm an eye to living in countryside or living uh, getting away from I'm an eye to getting away from urbanized areas. So I'm bad at English language. So I said I said I, but I said the I said means I of I and they. So so my opinion is that it's good to live away from urbanized areas, and it's good to live in countryside. But actually, if it's alright to live in countryside, it's alright to live in, for example, Scandinavian mountains, or I haven't been to Scandinavian mountains, and I haven't been to Rocky Mountains. But actually, it's alright. So if that is correct, it's alright to live in such places, such countryside where even fundamental infrastructure is not available. I haven't lived into such places, like that, but like the top of was a crest of Rocky Mountains, or I haven't lived in the top of, for the top of Scandinavian mountains. But maybe those places I have just told you are countryside, aren't they? Which is extreme condition, or which is those places I have just told you are extreme examples. Anyway, so what I'd like you to know is that to which extent you should live in countryside. So which means so extreme countryside is not so good, or it's not extreme countryside. It's not so convenient for your life, because so extreme countryside means a countryside, or countryside where even fundamental infrastructure is not available. For example, to if to live on in your place, you need water, you need electricity, and you need gases, and you need gas supply, and you need what else do you need? So tra- tra- not transformation. Tra- trans transports are necessary. Transports are necessary for transportations are necessary for moving. Or if you can if trains, or if, for example, if buses and trains are not available, you need to buy a car or buy cars for transportations. Anyway, so you know which means, what should I what was I trying to say? So which means, if you live in if you live in such a countryside where there's nothing except for natures or plants or wild animals, maybe you are going to feel uncomfortable. So, or maybe you're going to feel like moving away from such a countryside, and you are going to feel like moving into urbanized areas, or more dense areas. So which means there is a suitable, or there must be a suitable or moderate, or how should I say? So there must be a suitable or settlable. I don't know whether it's possible to settlable. So there must be so there must be a proper or suitable places as a settlement between urbanized areas and countrysides, which is what I did, which is what I like, which is what I'd like to say. So 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 that means so I I'd like to suggest you, or the places I'd like to suggest you are those places having the populations larger than 100,000 people. Does it make you sense? So maybe my English is very complicated. So at least you know the meaning of population. And in the case of my country, so Tokyo has a lot of people, and which maybe most of you aren't familiar with my country, because my country is located in Far East. So here I'd like to use an example of the cities of United States of America, because I know most of the listeners are because I know most of the listeners of my podcast live in the United States of America. So the population of New York is so for in 2020 the population of New York is almost 9 million, or 8.8 million is better understanding for explaining the population of New York, or maybe this is the population of New York City. And the population of New York City is 8.8 million. So Los Angeles has a population of 3.8 million, and the third largest is Chicago, whose population is 2.7 million. Anyway, so there are many cities in the United States having really, huge populations of people. So the website I'm using is Wikipedia, and so what I'd like you to know is that if you if you live in a if you live in a city having the population of 100,000 people or more. I said more than 100,000 people as a population is suitable, but so what if the population is, for example, if the population of your city is exact 100,000 people, that is also fine. And if the population of your city exceeds 100,000, that is all right, which is my understanding, because in such a cities, basic infrastructure or fundamental infrastructure is available. And so fundamental infrastructure means, as I have told you, means before that you need water supply, you need gas supply, you need electricity for using air conditioners or other electronics. And of course you need some hospitals in case you get injured, or you get some diseases, you get some diseases in the course of your life. So in such a case, or in such cases, you need to go to hospitals. And so you of course you have to, if you have children, you can understand, and if you have children, you need to study. And if you are parents of your own children, you have to send your own children to schools for studying. And if you are doing homeschooling, for example, for not homeschoolings, if you are doing homeschoolings, that is fine. But you need education materials to teach your children. So so to supply educating materials, you need some, for example, you need some bookshops, or you need libraries. And such fairly huge cities have such kinds of basic facilities or fundamental facilities necessary for raising people or protecting people or supplying advanced knowledge for for educating your own children or educating yourself, even if you are grown-ups, which is what I'd like you to know this time. So so if you'd like to live in a countryside, or if you'd like to go to a place where nobody is there, and you'd like to cultivate your own place in your mountain, for example, and including, and if you'd like to set the fundamental infrastructure by yourself, and the fundamental structure is as I have explained to you. So electricity, water supply, and gas supply, and other kinds of things necessary for your life. And if you'd like to create by yourself in a distant place, far away from any cities. So if you'd like to live in such a wild place or countryside, it's all right. It's your own choice. But if you do like to do such a thing, so which means if you'd like to live in some countrysides where fundamental infrastructure is available, I recommend you living in cities, having the populations which is more than one larger than 100,000. So so if you wondered which cities are fine, so I said more than 100,000 is fine, or 100,000 people as population or larger is fine. So which means New York City it might be the best place, which is what you may think. But if you do not like urbanized places, so this is a suggestion, but if so in such a case you should investigate on the internet, and you should pick up some cities having for example just or exact 100,000 people of population, or slightly larger population than 100,000 people. For example, I'm recording this episode on February in 2022, but for example, I'm sorry, but I'm a native speaker of English language, so I'm not familiar with not measures. I'm not familiar with cities in the United States of America. So, for example, there's a town or city named Clinton in Michigan, and in other cases, the name of the cities, even I can read, are Norwalk in California, or Allen in Texas, and other cities. I'm not familiar with how to read the names of the cities in the United States of America. So, for example, there seems to be a city named Roanoke in Virginia, but I don't know whether Roanoke is a correct manner of reading or not. And so those cities I have just told you are the cities having having populations higher than 100,000 people. But those populations are slightly higher. So I'm from fairly huge city in applying where I'm from into this table. I'm more watching, or I'm looking at the web page of Wikipedia, and there's a table, or there's a matrix. Anyway, so for example, maybe for example, at least, for example, there's a city named Sacramento in California. I don't think I don't think I may feel any inconvenience in this area, because maybe this city Sacramento is close to the city I was from, which is what I like, which is also what I'd like you to know this time. So as I said, I was recommending Sacramento in California, but I'm not how should I say, I'm not a salesperson of Sacramento City, or I'm not how should I say, I'm not a politician of Sacramento City, but so what I'm just telling you is so if you, for example, so if you immigrate into Sacramento, maybe I don't think you're going to feel something bad caused by the lack of fundamental infrastructure, which is what I'm telling you. So of course, this is a case of the United States of America. So which means so maybe most of you know that the medical fees or medical costs or medical medical treatments are really expensive in this country, which is why for example, if you catch some diseases, for example, so you have to pay a lot of money. For example, so you have to pay $1,000 for for admittance in a hospital for a day. For example, this is just an example. So I don't know the exact price. I don't know the exact price for medical treatments in the United States of America, but so what I'm telling you is just the number, number of people living in Sacramento, and which is not slightly, which is fairly close to the city I was from. So so I don't want to be identified. So I'm telling you in this manner. So, but Sacramento is one of the places you would feel you you would feel you would feel unlike you would feel unlikely to no you are unlikely to feel that you can't get any water supply, for example, and you can't get any gas supply. Sacramento is a fairly huge city, which is why you don't feel. I don't think you you would feel. I don't think you are going to feel such inconveniences caused by a lack of fundamental infrastructure, which is what I'm telling you. So anyway, so if not Sacramento, for example, Atlanta or Baltimore, Atlanta in Georgia, or Baltimore in Maryland, or Las Vegas is I think is huge city. Las Vegas is I think is a huge city, and other places are, for example, Minneapolis in Minnesota, or Honolulu is maybe the largest city in Hawaii, which is my understanding. So if it's wrong, please, I'm sorry if it's wrong, but actually language, if you like to live in a fairly huge cities, or if you like to avoid living in really huge cities, so I recommend you living in some fairly huge cities having the population larger than 100,000 people. And so how convenient are those cities are what I'd like to know, but actually, what I can tell you, or what I can tell you from my own experience is that, for example, population, the population really close to, for example, the population is really close to those of Sacramento or Atlanta or Baltimore or Minneapolis are not are convenient in in my perspective, because I'm from such I'm from a city having the population closer to those cities I told you. Please, so which is also what I'd like you to know. So this is all. That's it. Thank you very much for your listening. See you.